What is the deal, beautiful people? My name is Ramon. This is Lifestyles Defined, and on this channel, we talk tech all day, every day. Today's topic is about subscription plans. What do you think of subscription plans? I know it's a very polarizing topic, and everyone has a strong opinion on it. You either love it or you hate it. Now, I want to run through a few different instances of subscription plans, and then I'll give you guys my feels on it. And I really want to see what you guys think. So, more so in our entertainment is where we first started to see subscription plans take over, right? You have Netflix, and let's not behave as if subscriptions is something new or it's a new problem, right? Netflix is literally the reimagined Blockbuster. Blockbuster refused to find a way to evolve, and they just went by the wayside. Blockbuster was the same thing. You had your membership, you went in there, you took your porn tape. You took your tapes in there and you exchanged them, and you were kind, you rewind, and you got new tapes, and life was good. You know, they had some sales there and whatnot. And then Netflix showed up and said, you don't even have to leave the house, my guy. I'll send it to you, right? And of course not tapes, we're talking DVDs. So you got your Bang Bros DVD. You got your Lord of the Rings DVD, you got your Spider-Man DVD, and then it turned into Blu-rays and all of this craziness. And then somewhere along the line, Netflix said, you know what? Let's tackle online video streaming. And Netflix single-handedly raised the bar for bandwidth in America. Thank you, God, for Netflix. When we look back at the solution, the problem and the solution, you know, as a fat, lazy American, leaving my house to go to Blockbuster was a problem. Not having to even go to my mailbox to open that, but I could stream movies directly from Xbox, PlayStation, Nvidia Shield, tablet, phone. That's the solution. I prefer Netflix. Hulu. Hulu is the David against Goliath. These ISPs, these cable companies, you know, they, for far too long have they controlled what happens here. And we're not even talking influence and the lobby and all. We're talking just, I'll keep it small because we don't want to go off on a 2-hour video rant. But we're talking the ability to purchase the content I want to consume in an a la carte method. Don't make me purchase your $300 a month plan just because I like to watch HBO and cricket. No, don't do that. And Hulu came around and said, all right, well, let's I don't even know how they did it, to be honest with you. But however they went around the back door and they got NBC on board, ABC on board, and then a lot of other. Now, Hulu is where I go to watch my my TV shows, my sitcoms, you know, Blackish, Grey's Anatomy. Don't you judge me. You better be watching Grey's Anatomy, The Simpsons, Family Guy. All that stuff is on Hulu. So the cable company and having way too much power, on top of the fact that they were my ISP and control my pipeline to the internet, is the problem. Hulu is the solution. I prefer Hulu. Spotify came in on the back of iTunes. And you guys know I'm not a big fan of Steve Jobs, but I'd be damned if he didn't disrupt that industry. And sure, he disrupted the industry and attempted to take a lot of power away from the record labels. But in doing so, he kind of lowered the, not the influence, but the overall income of the artists, right? And it's all still debatable because I still have a feeling, and I've read many articles, that the margins that these artists made on iTunes weren't too far off than the margins that the artists made on the CDs themselves. So we're looking at, a world where you used to have to go to Tower Records or Target or Best Buy or wherever you went, your local record shop, to buy CDs, and you couldn't listen to it on the bus home because your punk ass didn't purchase the anti-skip CD player and all that fun stuff. And then Steve Jobs shows up with an iPod. You can now have 1,000 songs on your iPod, and things change. And not only did you not have to buy an entire album, but you had the ability for the first time to download music legally. Whoa. My Napstar was still rocking for a while, son, because I was still working for me. You just had to know how to get around those viruses, right? So there was that. But you didn't have to buy the whole album. You could buy the singles you wanted off that album, which was super dope. Yes, it kind of, I guess the artist suffered a little, but it was a consumerist move. And then somewhere along the line, Spotify came and said, forget it. People don't want to buy music anymore. People just want to stream. And I'll prove it to you. Not only can we do it for free with some ads, but we'll even throw in a premium where you don't get the ads. And then you give them an offline mode. And you give them all of this ecosystem of their friends. And it worked. Now, if I have to go back, if I have to look at buying CDs as the problem and Spotify as the solution, I'm going with Spotify. The Microsoft Surface program. This is such a strange one. So Microsoft came out with a way for you to essentially lease any of the Surface line products, starting from like $50 a month to $115 or $150, whatever it was. And I thought this was a super genius move, particularly for college students, particularly for people who would, I guess, you're not in a financial situation to outright own a $2,000-$3,000 machine. Now, yes, you could say, what's the difference to finance? And on a Microsoft program, first they offer the protection, so if something happens, it's still covered. They have to, because you're leasing it, right? And that's par for the course with anything you lease. It has to be protected and covered. It's cheaper than if you were to finance, like you call Dell and say, hi, I want to finance this over 24 months, 36 months, whatever the case is. And then they have incentives for you to always upgrade, so you always have the latest Surface. And I thought that was super dope. Now, if you're looking at outright buying the hardware versus or outright financing the hardware is the problem, leasing with the Microsoft Surface program, I'm not sure in this particular case if it's a great solution and if a subscription plan makes sense here. But I do see worth in it. I do see value. There's a professional out there who maybe can't afford to finance a $3,000 Surface Book or a Studio Pro or whatever, but that $115 is cakewalk, and the income that you're bringing in from your business versus what you're paying for the lease, it could work. It could work. I see that as being something, but me personally, I don't think the average person will bite. In fact, I had this conversation with John, and he's thinking about it. I'm interested to see what he does there. Software, particularly Adobe Creative Suite. This has been I know Snow hates this so much. This has been an interesting one where we see Adobe, who used to have Photoshop. I've been lucky ever since high school. I've been using Photoshop. Since Photoshop 2, I've been on Photoshop, and I've always been lucky to get it through my school, or we had these classes in our school where we would go and use it. So it's been years I've been using Photoshop, and ever since, Photoshop's been a $700 program, and nope, you can't get it. Even when in those early days where it was still very simple, and even though it had layers and all that, it was still a very simple but powerful program if you had the imagination and patience, but you couldn't afford it. In today's world, you look at the photographer bundle where you get Adobe Photoshop and Lightroom, and I urge you guys as photographers, check out LD Photo, our photography channel, link in the description below. As photographers, sure, you can do what you need to do in Photoshop, but pay attention to Lightroom. Learn to use both together because Lightroom is a super powerful program. But that photography bundle could go for I've seen it as cheap as $25 a month. Now, yes, it's a monthly fee, it's a subscription, but to me, that's a hell of a lot better than coming up with $600 for a one-time purchase. And what I really like about, and this to Snow's point, no one ever said that when Photoshop was $700, they couldn't update it with new features. They just didn't. They always sold you the new version. To get you into this subscription plan, what they've done is promised to always give you new updates, and they've delivered. What's today? Today is the 3rd of April. Today, there was a huge update to Lightroom and Photoshop released, and a few other apps in the suite. So they've been holding good on their promise, and I guess about 4 times a year, you do get really good updates. Now, I wouldn't say that one-time $600 fee plus another $600 fee for Lightroom was a problem. And it's hard because I don't consider that a problem. I don't consider the monthly subscription to be a solution, but I prefer the monthly subscription in this case. Then there's Xbox Live. Microsoft went and they figured out the backward compatibility, and they'd have a few old games to put up there that you can download and pay $20 or whatever it is. Or maybe if you got them late enough in the Xbox 360 life cycle, you had a digital version where you can download it again for free. So that was cool. But then they came up with the Xbox Game Pass, where they said, you know what? Give us a little bit of money and we'll throw in all of these old games, and we'll even throw in some random games. And I thought it was dope. Where it really got serious for me was when they said, you know what? We're now going to include all the Microsoft first-party titles in this Game Pass. Now that's dope. So for $120 a year, it's broken down this subscription, you get, there's a Forza every year, and then there's a Halo or Gears of War. And that together already is your $120 you're paying for the subscription, and all of those old games and random games in between that they throw in. I see that as a plus if you're a gamer. So if looking at, I don't even know what would be the problem in this solution. The Xbox Live games with gold was already good. Sony's got their version of that, which is where Microsoft took that inspiration from, and that was already good. I don't even see this as a solution to a problem. I just see this as a super dope win for consumers. So like I said at the beginning of the video, I'll tell you guys, or by now you know where I stand on subscriptions. I'm a huge fan of subscriptions. The problem is when you start to add those subscriptions up, one by one, you're probably spending the $700 a month for Photoshop. That's crazy, isn't it? A lot of people don't realize that. I want to know what you guys think about it in the comment section down below. My name is Ramon. This is Lifestyles Defined. I'm out of here. Peace. Well, I guess, and the reason we started Lifestyles Defined is because if we weren't on camera arguing about these things, the technologies, the phones, the iPhones, the Androids, the cameras, the games, we'd be on the phone arguing about it. We'd be in each other's houses arguing about it. So why not just put it in front of a camera for everyone to enjoy it the way we do? That's what Lifestyles Defined is all about. We just love this shit.